He gained his fame through his rally career, joined political motorsport roles to promote racing in the Emirates. Now he is the FIA president and a dictator. Everyone had high hopes when he became the president, but there's nothing left of that. This is every time Mohammed Ben Sulayem deserved to go to jail. While most people know him as the current FIA president, we need to add a little backstory. Mohammed Ben Sulayem is a former rally driver, and a successful one too. With more than 60 wins and 14 titles, he's still one of the most successful rally drivers from the Middle East. He ended his professional career in 2005 and became the president of the Emirates Motorsports organization. After that, he went on to make a name for himself in the political world of motorsports. He tried to become the FIA president in 2013, but withdrew. All of this ended with him becoming the new FIA president in 2021. Since 2009, we've had the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It was announced in 2007 that it would join the calendar. Guess who had some influence in this decision? That's right, our friend Ben Sulayem did. As vice president of the sport and a member of the FIA World Motorsport Council, he had something to say about the race being included on the calendar. His local influence, well, that definitely played a part too. So, if you hate this Grand Prix, you know who to blame for it. Let's stay with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for a while. A new Grand Prix needs promotion. In this day and age, we know MBS likes the spotlight. He liked it back then too. There were many promotional activities, but one event stood out. On April 9, 2009, the Renault F1 team held a promotional event at the Dubai Autodrome. It was Mohammed Ben Sulayem who took the wheel of the 2008 Renault R28 F1 car. It was a drag race against a Ford GT, driven by none other than Renault's reserve driver at the time, Romain Grosjean. The drag race started, MBS took off, accelerated and took the lead, but then the former rally driver lost control, spun and went into the wall. He always mentions he's a racing driver in interviews, but I think even Nikita Mazepin would do better. The promotional event was cancelled. Renault had a wrecked car with apparently €2 million worth of damage, and MBS had nothing but this to say. It all happened so quickly. I wish I could explain what happened, but it happened in the fraction of a second. I lost traction, spun, and that was it. Sounds great for a racing driver, huh? His FIA presidential run started off rough with the famous Michael Masi incident. He did the right thing by replacing him. This led to a double FIA race director role and new driving standard guidelines, all to help with better consistency in decision-making and overtaking. Sounds good, doesn't it? But wait a minute, because that good feeling will fade quickly. Back in 2005, the FIA randomly announced a rule that forbade wearing jewelry during track sessions or around the circuit. That rule was ignored afterwards because, let's be real, a piercing won't be your biggest problem if you crash with 50G into the barriers. But then we got Jewelrygate. Almost right after our friend became FIA president, this rule became active again, and it would be enforced. A rule that was quite obviously targeted at Lewis Hamilton, a driver who had worn jewelry for over 16 years without it ever being a safety issue. He arrived with extra bling at the Miami Grand Prix just to make a statement. It went even further. Hamilton got a medical exemption for 2 races, which got extended for a month. He could be fined, and even a race suspension was possible. Later that year, Hamilton confirmed he had removed his piercings. This enforcement of an old rule that nobody cared about was about Ben Sulayem trying to assert authority as FIA president. Seems to me like someone likes his power a bit too much. It wasn't the only rule they clamped down on. The FIA also wanted drivers to wear the correct underwear. Not wearing fireproof undergarments could result in burns if a car catches fire. Sebastian Vettel had something to say about this. He definitely put MBS in his underwear with that statement. Nowadays, drivers are quite active on social media. They believe in certain causes and share their beliefs with their followers. Nothing wrong with that, right? But someone doesn't think so. In an interview, MBS said Niki Lauda and Alan Prost only cared about driving. Now Vettel rides a rainbow bicycle, Lewis is passionate about human rights, and Norris addresses mental health. But it wasn't Niki Lauda who asked his fellow drivers to boycott the 1976 German Grand Prix due to safety concerns. All of this resulted in drivers being unable to make statements or say anything without the FIA's approval. That didn't last long. MBS tweeted a statement trying to clear his name, saying that drivers can stand for something and that promoting sustainability, diversity, and inclusion is a key priority of his mandate. Is there anyone who believes that? We know by now that Ben Sulayem likes to be in the spotlight. I think he even loves it. That's exactly what happened at the FIA Gala of 2022. Red Bull Racing became Constructors' Champion. Max Verstappen won his second championship, in a weird way because the FIA doesn't know its own rules, and Mohammed Ben Sulayem was there to deny everything. The podium was bizarre. He came on stage, left, then came back. He claimed nothing was controversial because the FIA doesn't make the rules, the teams do. In Toto Wolff's words, this is a prime example of MBS suffering from main character syndrome, trying everything he can to showcase his power, that the FIA isn't bad, but that everyone makes them look like the bad guys. Before we go onto Swearinggate and his new rules for 2025, let's dive a bit deeper before we go into all his other controversial decisions. He blocked the increase of sprint races because he wanted to check if this was doable for the FIA, a decision that Formula One makes and not the FIA. Ironically, I do wish we did have fewer sprint races, but that's another story. Then he publicly supported Andretti to join Formula One as an 11th constructor, but once again, he isn't the one that makes that decision, he just tries to show his power. After that, he questioned the value of Formula One. This happened after a news report claimed that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund had failed to buy F1 for $20 billion. He called it an inflated price tag and said that a buyer needs to apply common sense, resulting in a letter from F1's lawyers. Good one, Ben Sulayem. Driver fines were quadrupled to an amount that some drivers don't even earn. They wanted clarity on where the money was going, but of course, there was no response. Susie and Toto Wolff were accused of sharing information with each other. Apparently, all the teams raised these concerns. The FIA launched an investigation, but all the rival teams of Toto Wolff released a statement saying this wasn't true. Within 48 hours, the investigation was dropped. But that's not it. Mohammed Ben Sulayem was accused of interfering with race decisions. He wanted to reverse a penalty that Fernando Alonso received in Saudi Arabia. Then he was accused of attempting to prevent Formula One from racing in Las Vegas. Honestly, I wish that had happened. He urged his FIA colleagues not to give it an FIA certificate and called the circuit unsafe. In the meantime, everyone got fired. They had already gotten rid of one race director, but the last man standing had to leave too. It was reported that he stepped down himself, but nobody believes that. Along with him, 7 others left, all high-profile people who probably didn't like MBS's behavior. Now that we're up to speed, let's roll into Swearinggate. Mohammed Ben Sulayem decided that F1 drivers aren't rappers and shouldn't swear. Therefore, the FIA decided to closely monitor what drivers said during official press conferences. And as always with stupid rules like this, Max Verstappen was the one they made an example of. He said his car was They told him to watch his language, but that was enough for Ben Sulayem to showcase his power. Verstappen was handed community service, and in true Verstappen style, he didn't say anything in press conferences anymore. He even held his own media sessions in the paddock. The FIA looked foolish because of MBS. The Drivers' Association decided to react. They wrote an open letter and published it. They said they are adults and professionals and wanted to be treated as such. Furthermore, they urged the FIA president to watch his own language and stated that they didn't need instructions through the media or to be lectured about their jewelry and underpants. They also wanted transparency on the ridiculously high fines the drivers were getting and where the money was going. MBS's response? None of their business. Sounds like something a dictator would say. But that wasn't the end of the story. In the meantime, he promised a new rule stating that every complaint about the FIA would be reviewed by himself, not by the governing body of the FIA, making himself even more powerful. Now it's 2025, and you'd think it couldn't get any worse. Well, it can. The FIA issued new guidelines for the stewards regarding swearing, a rule set so bad that I don't even know where to begin. We all know that these rules come straight from Ben Sulayem. If you swear the first time, you get fined a whopping $40,000. A second time, that'll cost you $80,000 and a suspended 1-month race ban. But the third time is the icing on the cake. If that happens, you get an actual 1-month suspension and potential championship points deduction. This rule set is every FIA-regulated series. So not only Formula One drivers can get this, but also Formula E and WEC. It's also not only targeted at swearing. You can't criticize the FIA or the god of the FIA, I mean Mohammed Ben Sulayem, and make any political or religious statements. I just hope the F1 season gets delayed because the drivers go on strike, like back in the day. Let them make a statement again. Or maybe Max Verstappen will take extended paternity leave by saying his favorite word 3 times in a row. While we wait on any other weird and controversial thing Ben Sulayem does, we can keep hating on Formula 1 and the FIA by watching one of these videos.